Okay, I want you to do one thing right now. Open your phone, go to your bank app, check your total savings, every account, every FD, everything. Add it all up in your head. Got the number? Good. Now I want you to honestly sit with that number for 5 seconds. Because here's what I found out recently, and it genuinely disturbed me. The average 35-year-old Indian in 2026 has somewhere between 3 lakh to 8 lakh rupees in total savings. That's it. That's everything, not in one account, across everything. And before you say, oh, that's too low, my circle is different, I'm going to show you today exactly where most people stand, where they should be, and most importantly, what the gap looks like in real rupees. By the end of this video, you will know the actual benchmark numbers for a 35-year-old in India in 2026. You'll know whether you're behind, on track, or actually doing better than you think. And if you're behind, which honestly most of us are, I'm going to give you a real plan, not some save 30% of your salary nonsense. A real plan that starts from wherever you are right now. Stay till the end because the last part is the most important one. Most people will skip it, and that is exactly why most people stay stuck. My name is Rohan, and I have spent the last 6 months genuinely obsessed with one question. How is the average Indian middle-class person actually doing with money in 2026? Not the Instagram version, not the cousin who bought a flat at 28. The real, honest, unfiltered picture. If you've ever looked at your savings and felt a quiet panic that you don't talk to anyone, smash subscribe and hit the thumbs up. You're in the right place today. So let's start with where the average 35-year-old actually stands. I looked at data from older RBI household finance surveys, more recent SEBI investor reports, and independent financial planning research from 2024 and 2025. And look, when you combine it all, a picture comes out that is uncomfortable but honest. Here's what the data shows. Roughly 60 to 65% of working Indians between the ages of 30 and 40 have total liquid savings, meaning savings account, FD, RD, of less than 5 lakh rupees. Now let me make that real for you. Imagine your entire office flow, maybe 30, 40 people. Out of those, about 25 people do not have even 5 lakh rupees saved up. Not because they are careless, not because they're spending recklessly, but because the system, rent, EMI, school fees, family pressure, inflation, has slowly eaten everything. And here's the part that really hit me. Of those same people, only about 22% have started any kind of mutual fund or stock market investment. The rest are either in an FD or savings account or putting gold in a locker that they're calling an investment. Now look, I'm not here to make you feel bad. I'm here to tell you the truth because nobody in your family WhatsApp group is going to tell you this. Your relatives will talk about Rahun Bhaiya's new car and Priya Didi's Europe trip, but nobody is sitting down and saying, Yaar, where are we actually financially? So let me do that today. Let me give you a simple framework. Financial planners and most serious money people use something called a wealth benchmark by age. The idea is simple. By a certain age, your total net worth, meaning everything you own minus everything you owe, should roughly be a certain multiple of your annual income. In India, given our savings culture and the fact that most people start earning seriously only around 24-26, a reasonable local benchmark is, by 35, you should have saved at least your 1 year's gross income. So if you earn 8 lakh rupees a year, your total savings and investments together should be around 8 lakh rupees or more. But here's the thing, that's just the starting line. That's not where you should celebrate and stop. That's just, okay, I'm not in trouble. The real goal, if you want any kind of financial security by 55 or 60, looks very different. Let me break it down with real numbers. Say your name is Amit and you earn 60,000 rupees a month in 2026. That's 7.2 lakh rupees a year. After tax and EPF deductions, you take home roughly 53,000 rupees to 55,000 rupees. Your monthly household expenses, rent, food, electricity, petrol, phone, let's say 35,000 rupees. That's not extravagant, that's normal urban India in 2026. That leaves you 18 to 20,000 rupees to save or invest every month. Sounds reasonable, right? But then the EMI comes. Maybe a home loan at 12,000 rupees a month, or a personal loan you took 2 years ago at 6,000 rupees, or a car loan at 8,000 rupees. Suddenly, your saving capacity has dropped to maybe 5,000 rupees or 6,000 rupees a month. And some months when there's a wedding, a medical bill, a school fee spike, even that 5,000 rupees doesn't get saved. This is not a story about Amit. This is the story of crores of 35-year-olds in this country. And that's exactly why I want to ask you something. Drop in the comments right now, what's your biggest money blocker at 35? Is it EMIs? Is it family expenses? Is it low salary? Or is it that you just don't know where to even start? Write it down. I read every comment and I plan my next videos based on what you all are going through. So tell me honestly. Now let's talk about the number you actually need to be safe. This is where people get a big shock. Most 35-year-olds are thinking about savings in terms of, I have some money in my account, I have a small FD, I'm doing okay. But here's the actual picture when you do the math. If you want to retire comfortably at 60, that's 25 years from now, and you want to maintain a monthly lifestyle of 50,000 rupees in today's money, then adjusting for inflation at just 6% per year, your monthly need at 60 will be over 2 lakh rupees, closer to 2,15,000 rupees. Not 50,000 rupees, over 2 lakh rupees, because prices will have more than quadrupled by then. To support a retirement of over 2 lakh rupees per month for 25 to 30 years, you need a retirement corpus of approximately 5 to 6 crore rupees, at minimum. Now take a breath. I know that sounds like a number from another universe, but here's the good news, and this is where 35 is actually a beautiful age. You still have 25 years, and in 25 years, the magic of compounding does the heavy lifting, not you. Let me show you exactly what I mean. If you start an SIP of 10,000 rupees a month today at age 35 and you get a 12% average return per year. Now 12% is not guaranteed, but it is roughly what Nifty 50 linked index funds have historically delivered over 15 plus year periods. Past performance of course doesn't promise future results, but for long-term planning math it's the most reasonable estimate we have. So at 12%, in 25 years that 10,000 rupees a month will grow to approximately 1.9 crore rupees, nearly 2 crore rupees. Now, if you increase that SIP to 20,000 rupees a month, you're looking at close to 3.8 crore rupees.
Now here's where I want to be honest with you, because I see a lot of videos that stop here and say done, you're set, but you're not. 3.8 crore rupees is not 5 to 6 crore rupees. There is a gap, and that gap needs to be filled from other places. This is where EPF comes in. And look, I want to explain this properly because most people get it wrong, including a lot of finance videos. Here's how EPF actually works. You, the employee, put in 12% of your basic salary every month, and that goes entirely into your EPF account. Your employer also puts in 12% of your basic, but here's where it gets a little different. That employer's 12% is not all going into your EPF. A chunk of it, capped at 1,250 rupees per month, goes into something called the Employee Pension Scheme, or EPS. That's a separate pension pot. Only the remaining employer amount goes into your EPF account. So if your basic salary is 30,000 rupees, here's the actual math. Your contribution, 12% of 30,000 rupees is 3,600 rupees, goes to EPF. Employer contribution, also 3,600 rupees, total out of which 1,250 rupees goes to EPS and 2,350 rupees goes to EPF. So the total going into your EPF account every month is 3,600 rupees plus 2,350 rupees, which is 5,950 rupees, not 7,200 rupees. The difference is real. That 5,950 rupees is growing at 8.1% interest, completely tax-free. Over 25 years, that builds to around 57 to 58 lakh rupees. Add a PPF account, 50,000 rupees a year for 25 years at 7.1%, that builds to around 32 lakh rupees. And if you also step up your SIP by just 10% every year, meaning you increase your monthly SIP by 10% each year as your salary grows, your 10,000 rupees SIP doesn't give you 1.9 crore rupees. It gives you close to 3.5 crore rupees on its own. So when you add it all up, stepped up SIP at 3.5 crore rupees, EPF at around 58 lakh rupees, PPF at 32 lakh rupees, you're looking at roughly 4.4 crore rupees. That's close to the 5 crore rupees target, but there's still a gap of around 60 to 80 lakh rupees, and that gap is honestly not hard to fill. A small NPS account, a couple of direct equity holdings, or simply increasing your SIP by even 2,000 or 3,000 rupees per month bridges it completely. The point is, the heavy lifting is already done by these three instruments. The gap is small enough that almost any additional saving covers it. See, in an SIP, here's how it works simply. When the market is low, your 10,000 rupees buys more units. When the market is high, it buys fewer. So over 25 years, you're buying at all kinds of prices and your average cost stays smooth. You don't have to time the market. You don't have to watch the news every day. You just have to stay consistent. That's the only superpower needed. But wait, before we even get to investing, let me ask you something uncomfortable. Do you have an emergency fund? In a 2025 survey by a major Indian fintech company, I won't name them because I don't want to sound like a promo, it was found that nearly 68% of urban Indian households do not have a proper emergency fund, meaning if a sudden job loss happened or a major medical emergency landed, like a parent's surgery or your own accident, 68 out of 100 households would have to either take a personal loan, sell gold, or call relatives. That is not a small problem. That is a financial time bomb. Your emergency fund should be a minimum of 6 months of your total monthly expenses. If your house runs on 40,000 rupees a month, rent, groceries, school fees, everything, then your emergency fund should be 40,000 rupees times 6, which is 2,40,000 rupees. That money should be sitting in a liquid mutual fund or a savings account that you don't touch, not in your regular spending account. Separate, safe, boring. That's the point. Oh man, I know some of you are watching this and thinking, Rohan, I don't even have 50,000 rupees saved right now. 2,40,000 rupees is a dream. I hear you, and I want to say this clearly. If you're starting from zero at 35, that is okay. The problem is not where you are. The problem is only if you stay there. And the only way to not stay there is to start. Slowly, painfully, but start. Here's something most finance content won't tell you, and it's the thing I actually feel most strongly about. The average 35-year-old in India is not behind because they spend too much on restaurants or travel. They are behind because of two things that nobody teaches you to fight. First, lifestyle inflation. When your salary went from 25,000 rupees to 40,000 rupees, did your savings also go up proportionally? Or did your rent go up, your phone upgraded, your holiday got longer, and suddenly the bigger salary felt exactly as tight as the smaller one? This is lifestyle inflation, and it eats every raise you ever get. Rahul gets promoted, takes a better flat, buys a new car on EMI, and 3 years later he's earning 40% more but feels just as broke because his lifestyle grew exactly as fast as his income. The fix is simple but not easy. Every time your income goes up, even a 5,000 rupees raise, take at least 50% of that increase and direct it directly to savings before you even feel it. Automate it. Set up an automatic SIP or recurring deposit on the first of the month, the day your salary comes. What you never see in your account, you never miss. Second, the insurance gap. This one is dangerous. In 2026, the average Indian 35-year-old either has no life insurance or they have some old LIC endowment policy that their father bought them at 22, which gives a cover of 5 lakh rupees and a return of maybe 4.5%, and they think they are covered. Look, term insurance is like the helmet on your bike. You don't wear the helmet hoping you will crash. You wear it because if something does happen, that one helmet protects everything. Your family, your child's education, your spouse's future. Term insurance is that helmet. At 35, a healthy non-smoker can get a 1 crore rupees term cover for roughly 10,000 to 15,000 rupees per year, depending on the insurer and the policy term. That works out to roughly 800 to 1,200 rupees per month for 1 crore rupees of protection. And most people spend more than that on one family dinner out. If you are 35 and you don't have a term insurance yet, please, and I mean this as a friend, please make this the first thing you do this week. Not this month, this week. Now let me tell you about the 3 types of 35-year-olds I see in India in 2026. The first type, let's call him Mr. Sharma type. He started working at 23, opened a PPF account at 25 because his father told him to, somehow stumbled into a Nifty 50 index fund SIP at 28, never looked at it again, and today at 35, he has roughly 18 to 22 lakh rupees saved across everything. He's not rich, he's not flashy, but he's quietly ahead. He didn't do anything genius, he just started early and didn't stop. The second type, let's call her Neha type. She's earning well, 80,000 rupees a month in a city job, but her rent is 22,000 rupees, her car EMI is 12,000 rupees, and there's a personal loan from a trip to Bali 3 years ago, still running at 7,000 rupees a month. She has 1.5 lakh rupees in her savings account and feels like she's always one emergency away from a crisis. She's not careless, she's trapped in a debt loop. The third type, and this is the most common one, Ramesh type. He's been meaning to start investing properly for the last 4 years. He has a Zerodha account with 10,000 rupees sitting idle. He once bought 2 stocks on a friend's tip, one went down, he got scared and he stopped. He saves sometimes, spends it when needed, and genuinely doesn't know his own net worth right now. Which of these 3 feels most like you? Tell me in the comments. Are you a Mr. Sharma type, a Neha type, or a Ramesh type?
No judgment, just honest conversation. It helps me make better videos for you. Let me give you a very simple scorecard for where a 35-year-old should ideally be in 2026. Emergency fund. You should have a minimum of 3 to 6 months of expenses sitting liquid. That's your baseline. Life insurance. You should have a term plan with a cover of at least 10 to 15 times your annual income. If you earn 6 lakh rupees a year, your cover should be 60 lakh to 90 lakh rupees at minimum. Health insurance, a family floater plan of at least 15 to 20 lakh rupees. Medical inflation in India is running at 10 to 12% a year. A hospitalization that cost 2 lakh rupees in 2018 now costs 4.5 to 5 lakh rupees today, because at 10 to 12% medical inflation over 8 years, costs have more than doubled. If you're depending only on your employer's group insurance, you are one job change away from being completely uncovered. Retirement savings. Ideally, by 35, you should have invested a total of at least 1 year's gross income in long-term instruments. That's your starting point, not the end point. Debt. Ideally, your total EMIs should not exceed 40% of your take-home salary. If it's higher than that, you're not saving, you're just paying for your past. Now here's what I want you to do right now. Literally pause the video and give yourself a score on each of these 5 points. 1 point for each one you have. See where you land. And if you scored less than 3 out of 5, that's okay. That's information. That's your to-do list. Look, I want to end with something that's not about numbers. The reason most 35-year-olds are behind is not a lack of information. It's not that they didn't know about SIPs or term insurance. In 2026, all of this is on the internet. The real reason people stay behind is that they feel like their situation is so specific, so complicated, so different from the normal person that the usual advice doesn't apply to them. I have a loan so I can't save, my parents' health is a big expense, I just got married, everything is tight, my business went through a bad phase, I was going through a personal rough patch last 2 years. I've heard all of these, and here's the truth. Every single one of these is real. Every single one is valid, but none of them are permanent walls. They are temporary conditions that can change if you make even one small move this week. The smallest move possible? Open a SIP of just 500 rupees today. Seriously, not 5,000 rupees, 500 rupees. The point is not the amount right now. The point is to build the habit and the proof to yourself that you can do it. Once you see 500 rupees go in every month and slowly grow, something changes in your mind. You feel like, yes, I also can do this. And then slowly you increase it. 500 rupees becomes 1,000 rupees, 1,000 rupees becomes 3,000 rupees, and 5 years from now, you're the person who tells your younger colleague to start early. That's the whole game. Not perfection, just starting. One last thing before I go. If you're watching this and you're 35 and you're behind, I want to say something clearly. You are not a failure. The fact that you're watching a video like this, asking these questions, trying to understand, that itself puts you ahead of most people who will never even ask. Most people will not do what you're doing right now. That matters. The average 35-year-old has between 3 to 8 lakh rupees saved, but the benchmark 35-year-old, the one who will actually be okay at 60, has an emergency fund, a term plan, a running SIP, and a rough plan. You can become that person starting today, not starting next year, not starting when the salary improves, starting with whatever you have right now. Do one thing after this video, just one. Check your health insurance cover or open that SIP or calculate your emergency fund number. One thing. Alright, if you want to take this a step further, I have a video you'll want to watch next. It's called 15 Investments Rich People Make That You've Never Heard Of. And I promise you, half the things in that list, the average middle-class person has never even considered. It completely changed how I think about building wealth outside the usual FD and SIP conversation. Go watch it right after this. I'll see you there.